everything. Let me ask you, do you marvel enough? Do you marvel at anything? Is there any wonder? My little boy, Evan, 2 nights ago, for some reason, just started crying, and he said, I want to go visit Nana. Nana was my mother. And I said, well, Evan, you know that she died. And she's in heaven. Well, is she happy? Oh, yes, she is very happy. Well, what's she doing? So we just sat down for a while and tried to imagine some of the things that she was doing. Well, she's worshiping Jesus. She's serving the Lord. Is she flying? Can she fly? And I said, I really don't know, but I bet she can. Does she swim? Can she swim with the fish? And I said, well, I don't know, but if there's fish up there, I'm sure she can swim with them. Even sharks too. Can she swim with sharks? Well, if there's sharks up there, I bet they're friendly. Now, you think, well, you're making up stuff. Maybe, but here's the thing. Do you no longer sit down and wonder what's up there? Do you no longer just sit and think about what's waiting for you? People who have no wonder in their life should never get up in a pulpit. There's no childlike amazement. Nothing amazes you anymore. Don't get up in a pulpit. John Eadie writes, the object of the apostle is to show that Jesus is the creator not simply of lower modes of being, but the higher essences of the universe. Yes, those beings so illustrious as to be seated on thrones, so noble as to be styled dominions, so elevated as to be greeted with the title of principalities, and so mighty as to merit the appellation of powers, these so like God as to be called gods themselves, Psalms 97:7, bow to the Son of God as the one author of their existence, position, and prerogative. No atom is too minute, so no creature is too gigantic for His plastic hand. You say plastic? That word literally, the older use of that word is creative. His creative hand. And I think that, if you notice, I've quoted Eadie quite a bit on this part. In Colossians, he's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, in Him all things hold together. And I love this part. Because it actually reminds me so much of the Christian life. There's so much in creation that reminds us of the salvation of His people. He created. He called light out of darkness. He recreated us, regenerated us, calling light out of darkness. He sustains creation so that it doesn't fall apart. He sustains us with His grace so that we do not fall away. Now, it says, in Him all things hold together. The phrase hold together is derived from a Greek word which means to place together, to cohere, or to hold together. All creation is held together by the Son. You see, you don't just create things and then by their own nature and their own power, they then keep themselves together. He not only creates, but He holds together what He creates. He not only makes it happen, putting planets in orbit and everything else, but He must sustain them in their orbit. There's not some force He's tapped into that allows them to flow on their own. You're amazed that He created the world? He created the universe? You ought to be. But there's something even greater. To keep all these complexities going is astounding. And then He can't take care of you? He can take care of you. But I'll tell you this, I've been walking with the Lord a lot. And I don't mean that as far as in greatness, but I mean that as far as been a lot of years. And you know what? In a recent trial I was passing through, and still passing through, I was laying there, I woke up at night, and now it wasn't a voice, and it definitely wasn't God, but a thought came into my head so clear, and it was this: He doesn't even know what you're going through. I mean, just the thought. Wasn't a voice, wasn't something, but just the thought came into my head. He doesn't know what you're going through. I mean, so much stuff. A feeling of just lostness coming over you. Like, if that's true, but it's not true. And that's what we call the fiery darts of the devil. And holding up the shield of faith. He does know. He is that big. He is that big. That's why it's so important to study the attributes of God. Now, all creation is held together by the Son. He is the great creator and the great conserver. His importance to the universe was not momentary. Now, this is very important because a lot of more liberal persuasions will say that they believe that God created the universe but then left it. But His importance to the universe was not momentary but constant. He is the moment-by-moment sustainer. Now look at that. He's the moment-by-moment sustainer. And yet, look at this. I mean, it'd be a hard day at the office if for 8 hours you had to sustain the universe. You come home, you'd say, honey, I don't want to go out tonight with our friends. I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty wore out. Can I just take a bath? Soak there for a while? Maybe veg out a little? He sustains the entire universe moment by moment throughout all of eternity without effort. Without effort. Lord, what are you going to do today? Oh, I'm going on vacation. All I'm going to do is sustain the entire universe. I mean, think about it. I mean, we're not talking about, we're not even talking about concepts of power anymore. This goes outside of any calculation or definition of power. Because there's no exertion. I mean, how does He do this? We all know of the mythological Atlas balancing just